to take shelter up there as this storm approaches you. I'm concerned about this one because anytime you see the green lighten up big time on the eastern side of a rotating couplet like this, it means that there's an influx of inflow and that this could tighten up very fast. So this might be the next big one that we watch as it approaches Colquitt. Excuse me. A very distinct area of rotation here near Centerville, Hintown, and New Hope. This could be producing a new tornado very soon and moving up towards, oh yeah, this is probably producing a new tornado right now near Hintown and New Hope. If you guys are not in your safe spot yet, run, don't walk to your safe spot. This will probably remain on the ground all the way up to Old Damascus and Crossroads. So even if you're in Douglasville, Nicholasville, or Jones Spur in Georgia, you need to be taking shelter now. We currently have, let's see here. We currently have 6 tornado warnings. It's going to be for Jackson County, Florida, Decatur County, Georgia, Miller County, Georgia, Seminole County, Georgia, Baker County, Georgia, Calhoun County, Georgia, Early County, Georgia, Miller County, Georgia, Gulf County, Florida, Liberty County, Florida, and that's it. So if you're in any of those counties, take shelter now, please. Stuntman Billy TV, thanks for becoming a member. Holson 1070, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, Ryan, I love your streams. I'm in Ripley, New York, heading west on I-90, and we've got 50-mile-per-hour winds and rain up here. Yeah, anybody associated with any part of this storm today is going to feel the impacts. Whether you're getting a tornado down here in the south or a blizzard up here in the north or anywhere in between, you're definitely going to notice this storm today with the strong winds, the heavy rain, maybe even some freezing rain here in West Virginia and Pennsylvania. This is going to be a very impactful storm for everybody involved. And we're going to see another one of these next week and this weekend. I hope everybody enjoyed the break.
Ryan, it's Chris. We're coming up on this storm that came through Mexico Beach. We're coming down, looks like the middle of nowhere where I'm at currently. Looks like there may have been a brief CC drop directly in front of me. So that storm may be trying to do something along that line.
All right. So that was Chris. Chris is approaching the storm that come into Mexico Beach. And now there's another one that's getting ready to come into the Port St. Joe area. And another tornado warning is likely about to be issued for Port St. Joe and White City. Get ready for that. Yeah, and I see the CC drop that he's talking about here. There probably was a tornado that touched down right here, produced some debris, and now I don't think it's still down right now though. But I mean, if it is, it's coming right for Waywa-Hitchcock, so you guys need to be in your safe spots for certainly. A little bit of an uptick in rotation here near Bluntstown. Still not strong enough to produce a tornado, but this right here has some 70, maybe even 75-mile-per-hour winds in it. So get ready for that, Bluntstown. Donaldsonville, that storm is still dangerous as it approaches Boykin, but I don't see any direct signs of a tornado right now. This one, the one that's approaching Damascus and Arlington, is definitely the most impressive looking at this moment. I'm moving the radar around so much, guys, but there's a lot of area to cover here, and I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, Old Damascus, Crossroads, everybody in this general vicinity here needs to be taking shelter. That looks pretty nasty. Lots of people are tuning in. Guys, please help us spread the word here. This is an ongoing threat. We're going to see lots of tornadoes today. Millions of people are under the risk for significant, damaging, life-threatening tornadoes. Lots of them don't know about that. And some of them don't watch the news, and the only way they're going to hear about it is by coming across some old dude on YouTube live streaming it, as they're searching for, whatever it is they're searching for on YouTube. Because of you guys hitting the like button and sharing this everywhere, the algorithm does a good job of putting us in front of those people who need us most. And sometimes all it takes is for somebody to be like, hey, there's a tornado around this place that you're familiar with. And that's what it takes to get them into shelter. And it's actually, if you know that a tornado is coming, if you know about it and you take shelter promptly, it's pretty easy to survive a tornado. It's very hard to survive one on accident, though. So the goal here is to just let people know that they're coming, and then hopefully that'll help a lot of people. Another thing to be on the lookout for today is we have a moderate risk of significant rainfall and flash flooding for the southern part of the Appalachian Mountains there near South Carolina and North Carolina. And we also have a huge area of the Mid-Atlantic under the gun for flash flooding as well, from Richmond, Virginia, or near there, or all the way up towards Washington, D.C., the I-95 corridor, all the way up through Washington and New York and close to Boston. We're going to see a lot of rain today and some flash flooding in this area. It looks like we've got about 70,000 people without power in Florida right now. Yeah, I'm sure we've got some people out without power in Georgia as well. If you have, as today unfolds, we're going to see a lot of flash flooding. We're going to see a lot of, snow and all this kind of stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are going to be watching that want to submit reports and pictures and, all that kind of stuff. If you want to do that, the best way to do it is on Twitter, at Ryan Hall, y'all, on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Even if the only reason you have X is to send in pictures and reports to us, that's a good reason to get it, because it's the number one way that we're actually going to be able to show it on air here. We've got an email inbox as well. It's just harder to deal with that. Here's something from Kim Weaver in Iowa. Look at this. It's cold up there. And they got a little bit of snow. Wow. That just looks incredibly cold. So we'll be covering the snow today on top of everything else, the tornadoes. Here's another view from Ames, Iowa, of the blizzard, or just the desolate cold in Iowa. And once again, you guys think it's cold up there right now. Just wait until this next storm goes by. It's going to get even colder. All right, we've got 4 tornado warnings. Wewa Hitchka, you guys are still under the gun. Please be in your safe spot in Florida. The rotation has let up a little bit. I think, oh my gosh, man, to be a meteorologist at the National Weather Service today has got to be one of the most hectic things ever. I mean, the target areas of where these zones of rotation are occurring are just so random. They're popping up everywhere. They're disappearing. There's a new one here. There's a new one there. This one's gone. That one's gone. The latest interesting area is up here near Henderson Mill in Selman, Florida. Wouldn't be surprised to see a new tornado warning issued for Ochees Landing. So get ready for that. We still have a tornado warning for Chattahoochee. Actually, that was just allowed to expire. You might be included in a new one, though, if they issue something for this. We still have a tornado warning for Donaldsonville. That should be allowed to expire very soon. I would stay in my safe spot up here in Colquitt. I know I'm saying that right or wrong, but you Colquitt. If you're in that community in Georgia, get to shelter. And then last but not least, our strongest storm right now with the most convincing signature is just south of Arlington. So I would be very surprised if there's not a tornado down right here just south of Arlington. There's not yet a correlation coefficient drop, so we don't have a debris signature just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised to see one in the next frame. Colquitt. Gotcha. Yeah, this is Arlington, Georgia. If there's a tornado down here, which there very well could be, it's going to cross Highway 216 between Arlington and Nicholasville. Actually, it could get pretty daggone close to downtown Arlington if this is actually down on the ground. Near the intersection of Patmos, Milford Highway, and Cherry Road. Anywhere in the draw a triangle between Arlington, Commissary Hill, and Nicholasville in Georgia. That's where I'm most concerned about this tornado being right now, or getting ready to be, I guess. Okay, yep, there we go. Look at this. So there was no debris signature here, and now there's a huge one just to the south and east of Arlington. So we officially have a confirmed tornado here. We'll get an update from the National Weather Service eventually. Arlington, Georgia. This is... it just crossed over Highway 216. It's near the Nancy Springs area, and it's heading up towards Brittany's hair salon on Highway 62. So once again, thankfully, on the eastern side of Arlington here, as long as it stays east of town, it's a pretty rural area. There's not a lot of things for this to hit. I guess now the main concern would... There it is. Yeah.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
I guess now the next places to be worried about would be Morgan and Leary as it goes off to the north and east. Yeah, as long as that stays east of Arlington, they've dodged a huge bullet there, because I think that's probably one of the stronger tornadoes we've seen today, just based off of what I'm seeing on radar. This is hopefully just tree damage or tree debris in the air here. If that was headed towards a more populated area, that would almost certainly have gotten a PDS warning. Scaredy Ginge, sorry. Thanks for the super chat, Michael. Thank you. Thank you, Scaredy, for being a member for a year, and thank you, Athenhoff. Thank you as well. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the town names right or your all's names. So here's what I'm hoping's happened. Okay, so we had a tornado touchdown just to the south of Arlington, Georgia. stayed on the ground, produced quite a bit of damage, I believe, probably sucked up some major debris here. That's why we see the correlation coefficient drop. But according to the velocity, the rotation has let up a lot, and that last frame of the correlation coefficient does show there's less of a drop here. So hopefully this was a brief touchdown and it lifts completely before it gets to Morgan. But Morgan, you are under that tornado warning and you need to stay in your safe spot regardless. Let's see what else we got. Pretty concerning looking area forming here just to the south and west of Chattahoochee. Anytime you see the old S form here, we have to watch it very closely. If this can breach up into the inflow and get it to kind of suck in at a sharp angle like this, we can sometimes see a tornado form with these kinds of situations. And that would be moving right up towards Chattahoochee and Hardin Heights and Rosedale. And then we've got some other areas of concern down here near Port St. Joe and Wewahitchka. But right now, this is things are going to be like a wave for the rest of the day. We'll have periods of cool down and periods of ramp up. Hopefully this is a cool down period here. But I am incredibly concerned about this. Everybody downstream from this needs to be paying attention. And the Arlington tornado is already gone. That was a fast hitting tornado right there. Still got a debris signature, but the velocity is completely gone. This is just leftover debris. You might see tree limbs and other kinds of debris fall from the sky around Morgan here soon. But hopefully a new tornado is not going to form out of this. Wewahitchka. Oh yeah. Shelby knows what it's all about. Early in the morning, who needs coffee? Unless, of course, it's Nader beans. When you've got good old Diet Coke. Virginia Clark, thanks for being here for 15 months. Connie, thanks for becoming a member. A lot of people in the chat are asking about South Carolina, North Carolina. We're going to get to you guys. Enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy every moment that I don't talk about your town. Okay? Because if I'm drawn to your town based off of what I see on the radar, it can't be good, right? Unfortunately, we don't go live just to do general forecasts for everyone. We go live whenever we think there's life-threatening things about to happen, and the goal is that we never talk about you or where you live. You know what I mean? Should be the goal anyway. But I'm sure we will be talking about South Carolina and North Carolina at some point today. We're going to be here with you at least through the afternoon. I'm sure that people at the National Weather Service are watching this as well. They're probably, hopefully, going ahead and typing up a warning for this, because it's probably going to need one soon.
Hey, Ryan, you got a copy?
I got you, Chris. What's up?
I have made it into the Waxahachie, whatever town this is. I have found debris. So that verifies what we just seen a while ago. I have a tree down, a lot of tree limbs down right here. A lot of sheet metal gone off the building beside of us. It looks like the power lines have been snapped in two right here by this tree.
All right. That came up from Mexico Beach. And you can see we've got debris there. And that's literally, he's right in the path of where that happened. So that's pretty. Yeah, the areas of concern, the number one places that I'm looking at right now are all of these S bends in the line here. The one just south of Chattahoochee is pretty impressive because it overlaps with a well. If it doesn't, that's good, but it probably will. There's another little embedded supercell up here. It's not as strong, but if we go back to velocity, you can see that there is another kink, another bend in the inflow here. So I'm concerned about these two areas potentially being long-term problems as they go off to the north and east. Ryan Hall talking about your town is about as bad as Jim Cantore showing up with a film crew. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, because Jim Cantore can only be in one place. I can mention a few. A little bit of a discrepancy there, but the idea is the same, yeah. Some people get on here and they're mad that I'm not talking about their town, but they just don't know how good of a thing that is. We're going to be tracking severe weather all day today. This is what... No.
You're playing the hokey pokey here.
Of potentially...
Looks like we're getting pretty close on the map.
Even though it seems like we only ever talk about tornadoes, we cover all aspects of the weather here. It's just tornadoes have been the most common thing that's needed our attention. Oh, here's some more imagery from Panama City earlier. Seen this image. This one's new. I still think that the most of this damage happened in a very localized area, which is good. Update. It's about 70,000 people without power in Florida. We've got about 60,000 out in Georgia, but also in Kansas. We've got about 36,000 people without power. I'm assuming Nebraska, Iowa. I'm sure there's tons of power outages in those states too, just because of the winds and the snow and the extreme rapid descent in temperatures.
Hey Ryan, there's a tornado on the ground in Morgan, Georgia currently.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
All right, Decatur County, Georgia just got a new tornado warning. We're going to go check on this other area here. Remember, we've got 3 tornado warnings now. All of them are in Georgia at this point. So this is one of the areas of rotation that we're concerned about. The one that Chris just rang through was this. Hold on. What's going on here? So this is the storm that came up by Columbia and Gordon earlier. And it's apparently still producing a tornado near Morgan. Oh, yep, there it is. Look, this is the perfect example of cycling. So we had the tornado near Arlington, produced the debris signature. The debris signature fades away. You think it's over, and then boom, another eruption of debris happens as a new tornado forms. So even this little of a signature on the velocity couplet with a storm like this can produce a tornado. And that's why it's important to stay in your safe spot throughout the entire duration of the tornado warning, even if it looks like the thing is weakening. So now we've got another tornado down near Morgan, and it's probably going to continue all the way up towards Oak Hill, Clark's Mill. And then we need to be on the lookout for maybe another one all the way up towards Dawson and Sasser in Georgia as well. But it's each time it's very brief. This one's already lifted too, I believe. But I mean, there's probably going to be another one as it approaches Harrod and Sasser. So stay in your safe spots. The Big Bend in our system down here near Chattahoochee is still a thing that we're concerned about. But it's still just that. It's still just a big bend. It's not necessarily wrapped up yet. This one has wrapped up. You see what I'm talking about? How it's gotten a little bit tighter. There's a more obvious inflow area. There's likely a tornado happening right here, just to the north and west of Bainbridge. So we've also got to watch out in Hanover, Lynn, Osmac, and Mount Pleasant in southwestern Georgia, as we've got a spin-up tornado that's happening here just to the west of Bainbridge. I expect that something similar to that will happen with this kink in the line as well. It's past Chattahoochee now, so we don't have to worry about Chattahoochee, but there's other areas that could be impacted. So it looks like the area of greatest tornado potential is going to be in this general vicinity over the next couple of hours. Oh, look. The Storm Prediction Center is saying the same thing. The threat for embedded QLCS tornadoes, fancy for tornadoes in a line of storms, and damaging winds will continue this morning. Here are some photos from our Brett Adair from Live Storms Media. This is near the Spring Chase community. He's estimating that this is strong EF2 to maybe even EF3 damage. I'm not sure if Brett himself got this or if it's Brandon Clement. But it's Live Storms Media. Yeah, the best, in my opinion, the best ingredients for tornadoes, more specifically, over the next hour or so, is gonna look something probably like this. So Tallahassee, Tifton, Thomasville, maybe all the way up there towards Dublin, Georgia. You guys, we all need to be hyper weather aware as this line of storms approaches us. And it's going to be a heck of a line of storms, even if it doesn't have a tornado in it. All of these severe thunderstorm warnings that you see are for 70-mile-per-hour winds. They're considerable severes. That area of tightening rotation near Bainbridge continues to look impressive. There could be a quick spin up tornado continuing to happen here. It's getting ready to cross Highway 253 north of Bainbridge. We want you to stay in your safe spot. That observed tornado warning up here near Morgan is still in effect. Let's go inspect this on our other radar here. So that tornado is lifted. But there could be another one trying to form already. So I'd say we'll see a new tornado warning issued for Leesburg in Georgia. So get ready to take shelter in Leesburg. Oh, is this it?
A new tornado warning
Lee
has been
County
issued.
and Terrell County, Georgia. There it is, right on cue. Brand new tornado warning. It includes Dawson and Leesburg and Smithville in Georgia. Take shelter now. Got 4 warnings. It's going to be for Calhoun County, Georgia, Daughtry County, Randolph County, and Terrell counties in Georgia. Also, Decatur and Miller counties in Georgia are under tornado warnings as well. This is what it looks like out there in State College, Pennsylvania. Julia Doyle sent this in on Twitter or X. You want to send me stuff? Send it on Twitter at Ryan Hall Y'all. And of course, if you're getting snow out there and you've got a Yolometer, if you went to shopryanhall.com and you've purchased yourself a Yolometer and you want to measure that snow with the best snow measurement device on earth, you can go to you can send us a picture of that, and we're going to enter you to win $1,000 at the end of the stream today. That's right. How many times have you watched the weather and won $1,000, or just for watching the weather? It's never happened before. We're doing it. And hopefully the tornado stuff calms down and we get to enjoy that and have fun with it. we're not going to have any fun in games as long as there's serious stuff going on, but we would like to lighten the mood a little bit with some fun stuff like that. There is a lot of snow happening up north, so we're going to try to keep you updated on all that as well. A little bit of rotation, trying to sneak down from the upper levels here. I'm kind of keeping an eye on this general vicinity as well, because there's obviously an embedded supercell here. This could start twisting and move up towards Tallahassee. I'm concerned about Tallahassee. I'm concerned about Thomasville, Moultrie, and Tifton in Georgia. This is our next corridor of potential dangerous weather here. Do you have a sun-o-meter for Arizona? We're working on it. Our engineers are working on it right now. Here's one now. This is from Joffrey in Nebraska. About 3 inches of snowfall since Monday in Valley, Nebraska. Snapped at 1924, 850 Central. So he's got the yaw meter here. And now somebody is putting you in already in a drawing to win at the end of the stream. So make sure you're here. We want to see as much snow measurements as possible. Not only because it's fun and it allows us to take a break from the nasty weather, which, snow is also nasty for, especially when it's a blizzard. But we're trying to compile a database of a large collection of snow reports. If you're just now tuning in, we are kind of meandering a little bit, and we're talking about snow, we're talking about rain, we're talking about this, we're talking about that. But the main focus, the reason we're here, for the most part, is to cover the tornado situation that's currently ongoing in Florida and Georgia. There's a little bit of a lull in activity right now. We don't have a whole lot to cover, so I'm trying to take these opportunities to focus on some other things. But at some point, we will be drawn back here for a new tornado warning. Likely one's going to happen here near Midway and Tallahassee in the near future. Same thing up here near Climax and Whigham in Georgia. The other storms are weakening, which is a good sign. I don't see as much of a concerning signature for the storm up here near Dawson and Albany as we saw earlier. From Miranda, thank you for sending that in. Lots of snow on the backside. If you're in Kentucky or Ohio, we're mostly going to see rain all day today, but late tonight into early tomorrow morning, we're going to see a good shot of snow as well. I don't know if it'll amount to anything significant like this, but we're going to see our snow. I'm just reading some updates here. Dawson County schools with severe weather moving into Georgia.
Right now.
So Dawson County schools will have an online learning day today. How many schools in Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina are closed today? I'm very interested in that because this is the second time I think that I've seen schools closed due to a 10% hatched risk of tornadoes. This is a new phenomenon. I don't know what's causing it. It's debatable as to whether or not it's a good thing. Obviously, I think it's mostly a good thing. But I know the last time that we had live coverage and like all these states closed schools because there were supposed to be tornadoes, there weren't any tornadoes. So it's one of those things where it's concerning if, who's deciding what that criteria is. Like who's the one that says like, okay, we're closing today because of this. Because sometimes that can get a little out of hand and it could cause a situation where if schools closed, like when schools close, it's a big deal. Like everybody knows about it and it impacts almost everyone's lives. If schools close 2 or 3 times and then there's not like a tornado in that town where the schools is closed, it might be another thing that leads people to not take tornado warnings and stuff seriously. So it's debatable to me as to whether or not that's a good thing. It's certainly, on high risk days, I think that like, I love it when I hear that schools are closed on days where there's a 5 out of 5 high risk, but a 3 out of 5 enhanced risk, I don't know. It's probably better to be safe than sorry. So we'll leave it at that. Here's a live look at Kansas City. Carly, see if we can get that on our 6 view. I know that we don't have an RTMP link for it, but maybe you can pop it out as a windowed full screen and just kind of resize it to fit in the number 6 spot or something. But it is coming down in Kansas City right now. Really quickly, let's leave the tornadoes for just a moment and look at that on radar. Yep, pretty heavy snow back here. It's going to be sticking around for a while, too. Right, back to business. Pretty concerning looking situation happening south of Bainbridge now. Wouldn't be surprised to see a new tornado warning issued there. Wouldn't be surprised to see a new tornado warning issued for this storm. The closer it gets to Midway and Tallahassee, the more concerning it looks. But for the most part, things are a little bit quieter than they were just moments ago. So that's good news. Sidby says schools are closed today in upstate South Carolina because buses can't run with winds. Okay, well, that's another good... it might not be just because of the tornado situation.
A new tornado warning
schools are closing.
has been issued.
We are going to have a lot of strong winds, heavy rain. The flooding is going to be an issue in a lot of South Carolina. So I'm just talking out loud here, waiting for what we just heard. Another tornado warning. And, man, I mean... we are really doing a good job of calling out these storms before the warnings are issued here. This is another reason why I encourage you guys to share the stream with people out there, because the advantage of watching something like this over pretty much anything else is we're here whether the tornado warning exists or not. We just wait for them to come, and we can speculate and talk about future storms that will have tornado warnings before they're even issued. We talked about this one 15 minutes ago, and here we are officially with a tornado warning for Ward, Jackson Bluff, all the way up to Midway. It doesn't quite include Tallahassee, but Midway and the western side of town there is included, and this is probably the most impressive-looking storm on the radar right now, so we're going to stick with it. Once again, that's going to be for Goshen, Leon, and Liberty counties. Please take shelter. Dapper says, my school closed and I'm not even in the enhanced risk zone. I'm in the marginal zone. EJ Rich says, in 2016, my high school flooded knee deep and it was full of students due to a false flag school cancellation 3 weeks prior during hurricane season. That's what I'm talking about. Especially in the pattern that we're in right now, y'all. We've got this big storm today. This weekend, we're going to have another one just like this. Similar problems. Blizzard in the north, severe weather in the south. 3 or 4 days after that, we're going to have another one. You know, we're in this pattern where we really don't want any sort of boy who cried wolf syndrome going on out there. And as much as we do like to be, it's better to be safe than sorry. In my experience dealing with this stuff as a career now for several years, it's almost always worse to, I don't know how to like over exaggerate things or get people too excited about things that end up not happening, because then like the next time that they need to pay attention, they don't, because they're like, oh, well, they canceled school last week and nothing happened. And, you know, that's definitely what's going to happen again this week. But then, you know, there's always the chance that something does happen and it's a good thing that they did. So it's a tough subject. Rotation is picking up here near Highway 375, just to the south and west of Midway. We are watching this storm as it approaches Tallahassee in Midway, Florida. Unfortunately, we've been watching this one for a while, way back here past Wewahitchka, and now it's approaching Tallahassee. I was concerned that it was going to go through this recycling phase and kind of ramp back up on its approach to Tallahassee, and that's exactly what's happening here. Smith sends in his Yolometer measurement from Rockford, Iowa. Guys, we have thousands of these snow measuring sticks out there. Please send in your measurement photos. I know you're out there. All have kept our warehouse manager Austin very busy over the past couple of months. So if you've got snow, heck, if you've got mud, go out there and measure it and send us in a picture. Give us something to fall back on whenever we're tired of hearing about the bad news in the storm sector of this storm. But it looks like close to a little over 4 inches there in Rockford, Iowa. This is the Yolometer Mini. And then just a couple 100 miles away, maybe 1,000 miles away to the south and east, we've got a tornado warning for portions of Florida. Rondell, thank you for becoming a high-risk member. Shay, thanks for becoming a member. Stacy, thank you. It's crazy how we have snow and rain in the same system. Yeah, well, this is the kind of system that does exactly that. It's let me show you once again here on the radar just how big it is. From and this doesn't even show the whole thing, from Canada all the way down to pretty much Mexico. This is one storm. If we switch over to satellite view, it kind of looks like a big land hurricane. Yeah. Let me show you on the GeoColor here. This is all in the Radar Omega app, by the way. Look at that. One giant swirling storm. And look, the tail of it, you can't see it all the way, but it does go all the way into Mexico. So from Mexico all the way up into Canada, we've got one big swirling system. The central area of the lowest pressure is somewhere near Memphis or the western side of Kentucky. On the eastern side of that, we have a very fast low-level jet carrying moisture from the Gulf of Mexico northward. On the backside, we've got very cold, dry air coming in. Where that meets up, obviously, we've got tornadoes, but everywhere else, we're going to be dealing with heavy rain. We're going to be dealing with snow, very strong winds all day today. It's a very dynamic system. And yeah, I think this weekend we're going to see another one of these. It's going to be even stronger. I don't know if the severe weather will be as much of a big deal, but the overall storm will be stronger and it'll probably be more blizzard focused. We're trying to onboard some more chasers for the snow side of this right now. Yeah, still got good rotation in the storm that's approaching Midway and Tallahassee, but nothing that says that there's a tornado down at this very moment, which is very good news. Same thing for the storm just east of Bainbridge. This is the least activity that we've seen since we started the stream. And we've been talking about this. We knew this was going to happen. There's going to be a lull in activity for probably the next, 2-3 hours. By the time we get to noon or 1 p.m. Eastern, things are going to start ramping up again. Yeah, there's a bunch of blizzard warnings right now.
Hey Brian, it's Chris. I'm coming through Port St. Joe, heading up to Panama Beach. I'm seeing a little bit of tree damage here, especially along the coastline, but I don't see much in the way of damage here, so I think they got spared from anything that might try to spin up off the coast here.
Yeah, I'm noticing a lot less activity too. Earlier today, when these storms were west of Panama City, especially, we could see a line of kinks in this line in QLCS tornadoes all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico. But now it's looking like we're seeing less of that, and the tornadic portion of this storm is a little bit farther inland now, which is good news and bad news. It's bad news for the inland areas. It's good news for the places closer to the coast. Here's another Yalameter from southern New Hampshire. About 8 inches of snow there. Thank you, Susan, for putting your name in the hat. Remember, at the end of the stream today, everybody that sent in a snow measurement is going to be entered to win $1,000. Just going to try to lighten up the mood a little bit. Some snowflakes, but mostly residual snow in Henrietta, New York. You'll probably see some more, but then it'll switch over to all rain. New York's an area, especially farther south and east you go, that could be seeing flash flooding today. Yeah. So as we experience this little bit of a lull in tornadic activity over the next couple of hours, we are going to talk about the snow and also the forecast. We're going to kind of consistently talk about what's going to happen in the future until we can't anymore. Because it's rarely something that we get to do. Because usually when I'm live, there's a million things to cover. So obviously we're going to see more tornado warnings over the next couple of hours, but hopefully they'll be a little